The Middle East. With 246 million people, religion and language are a big part of the identity of its citizens.
Women in the Middle East have less rights based on their religion and also the culture they live in.
The rights of women within the Middle East are greatly influenced by their culture and the religion they practice, and currently have less access to basic human rights than women throughout the Western world.
The Middle East is a predominantly male-run region in the world in which women are not respected.
Men are allowed to beat their wives if the court thinks it's in the context of protecting their family. Getting beaten by males are one of the less evil things that women have to go through in their daily lives.
In this nationally televised program, a male religious leader explains the encouragement of beating women.
ثم تأتي المرحلة الثالثة وهي قضية ماذا؟ قضية الضرب. يجب أن نفهم أن الضرب ليس المقصود منه التشفي وإنما المقصود منه التأديب، ولا بد قبل ذلك أيضا أن توجد أسبابه الشرعية. الضرب لا يكون بمثل العصا هذا، ولا بالعقال كما يفعل بعض الأزواج، ولا كذلك أيضا في بعض الأدوات الحادة التي يفعلها بعض الأزواج مع الأسف الشديد، وإنما يكون بمثل السواك، يعني بمثل هذا العصا الصغير، يعني بمثل هذا كما يقول ابن عباس لما سئل عن الضرب قال يضربها بمثل السواك أو المنديل، لأنه ماذا؟ المقصود فقط إشعار الزوجة أنها أخطأت في حق زوجها. هناك ولا شك أسباب قد تتعلق في الزوج، هناك أسباب تتعلق في الزوجة، ربما أنها تدفع الزوج أحيانا وهو الغالب أنه يضرب زوجته، وربما أنه حصل العكس كما حصل في بعض الأحيان أن الزوجة قد تمد يدها على زوجها. أولها هي قضية ماذا؟ قضية التربية الخاطئة التي يتلقاها بعض الأزواج مع الأسف الشديد، فيعيش في بيئة ربما أنه يرى والده أنه يضرب زوجته مع الأسف فيتخلق بهذا الخلق. الزوجة ولا شك أيضا قد يصدر منها بعض الأسباب. هناك أسباب كثيرة أجتزئها في سببين ولعلني أختصر ما إن شاء الله تعالى. أول سبب هي قضية المناكفة بين الزوج وزوجها، يعني بين الزوجة وزوجها، يعني مع الأسف بعض الزوجات تحب أو تريد أنها تعيش عيشة الند مع زوجها، بمعنى عيشة الضد، أنه كما أنك فأنا لي، وكما أنك تفعل فأنا أفعل، كما أنك تقول أنا أقول. هذه مشكلة خطيرة جدا. أيضا هناك بعض الممارسات الخاطئة التي ربما تفعلها بعض الزوجات، أحيانا قد تفعل الزوج أو قد تدفع الزوج إلى أن يقوم بضربها، بل إن هناك من النساء مع الأسف الشديد ربما أنها قالت يلا إذا أنت رجال اضربني، بمعنى أنها تستحي.
In Middle Eastern culture, there are many things that women cannot do just because of their gender. For example, women in Saudi Arabia cannot do many things without the permission of their husbands, including opening a bank account.
Also, women in Middle Eastern countries cannot leave their house without a mahram, which is a male who acts as a bodyguard. A mahram is usually a family member of the woman.
19-year-old Saudi Arabian woman was gang raped by 7 men and in return was sentenced to 200 lashes with a whip and 6 months in jail, all because she left her house without her mahram.
It is said that a woman can be charged in court with a worse punishment as a victim than the man who committed the crime. Perhaps the reason why women are given far less rights than males are based on the religious influences on the government.
Islam in its purest forms claims to honor women, but this is simply not the case. Gender inequality and oppression in the Quran reflect the culture of 7th century desert nomads.
Passages in the Quran imply how men are viewed as being greater than women. Many of these rules depict them as sex slaves to their husbands. A husband has sex with his wife as a plow goes into a field.
Your women are your fields, so go into your fields whichever way you like.
Mature men are allowed to marry prepubescent girls.
O Prophet, when you and the believers divorce women, divorce them for their prescribed waiting period and count the waiting period accurately. For and if you are in doubt about those of your women who have despaired of menstruation, you should know that their waiting period is 3 months, and the same applies to those who have not menstruated as yet. As for pregnant women, their period ends when they have delivered their burden.
Not only are the rules of the Quran degrading in sexual nature, but they also depict women as having lesser value than men.
Wives have the same rights as the husbands have on them in accordance with the generally known principles. Of course, men are a degree above them in status.
The Muslims believe that the majority of the people in hell are women. Women are considered one of the three main evil omens. Other rules in the Quran encourage domestic violence towards women.
If you fear high-handedness from your wives, remind them of the teaching of God. Then ignore them when you go to bed. Then hit them. If they obey you, you have no right to act against them. God is most high and great.
When it comes to money, there is a verse.
The share of the male shall be twice that of a female.
It is important for women in the Middle East to respect men. It is also culturally appropriate for women not to work and to be invested in their families and husbands.
In Lebanon, for example, women make up 54% of university students, but only 26% of women make up the labor force.
Going to school can also be a huge risk for some girls who are very passionate about their education. For instance, Malala Yousafzai was nearly assassinated for her fight to make education equal in the Middle East for boys and girls.
I speak not for myself, but for those without voice, those who have fought for their rights, their right to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, their right to equality of opportunity, their right to be educated.
In the following clip, Malala explains her experience almost being assassinated by the Taliban because of her drive for an education.
A year ago, in October 2012, she was on a school bus, like the one children still ride in Pakistan. Her friends were singing.
On the day when I was shot, all of my friends' faces were covered except mine.
Was that wise? It was brave, but was it wise?
At that time, I wanted to live my life as I want.
She says she noticed on that day the road was strangely quiet.
I didn't see those men. I just could see there is no one. There used to be a huge crowd on that road, and on that day there was no one.
Two men approached, one of them with a Colt .45. He climbs on the bus and asks the question, "Who is Malala?" She doesn't remember what happened next, but her friend told her.
She said, you said nothing, and you were just holding my hand, and you just squeezed my hand like you were just forcing it, and you said nothing. And she said, you just looked at the man like this. Then she said, then he fired three bullets, and one hit you on the left side of my head. I would have been doing like this. So I hide my face because there was gunpowder on my fingers.
A child gravely wounded. And how she would survive is simply a testament to miracles.
Malala to fight for everyone to be able to have educational freedom was an extremely brave and courageous act for children and women, especially in the Middle East. For women and children in the Middle East, it is still a struggle to have freedom against men and be able to be independent because of how important men are to the misogynistic society, and it needs to change for the basic rights and freedoms women deserve.